Okay, so this is chapter 6 on enumeration. I added some content to the slides, so these should be the latest version. I think I put the latest one online as well. Okay, enumeration, it says extracts information. Okay, you really need information. You're going to break into something, you need information. So we're going to learn about it, and you're getting resources on shared networks, network topology, all kinds of other information about that. Okay, port scanning, fingerprinting, those are just some ways you can use to find out about a network. And it says enumeration is more intrusive. It says attempting to access a resource just not identified. Okay. Now there's a bunch of pictures in here. Now you start talking about NBT scan, NetBIOS over TCP/IP. Is this the Windows one? Or this is the Linux? This is the Linux version of it. There is a Windows version as well, which I have on a couple more slides. But as part of Kali, it's used to show you information about Windows services on other machines. You'll be able to see what it looks like better when we get to NBT stat here in a second. Okay. The reason we want to do enumeration, like I said, is to understand how we're talking about gain access. It really talks a little about Windows, and it talks about some of the different stuff you can see, and that's what we're covering in this chapter. Okay. I'm not going to go over that. You can read the different OS descriptions if you like. They're all pretty much. Did you know that Vista? Vista was the first Microsoft operating system written on C#. They won't write another one. So,
yeah. Can you confirm that now that Microsoft has turned off SNMP version 1, whatever it is, that the NBT scan no longer works?
I cannot, but I know NBT stat still works. I haven't tried NBT scan. I have not. So no, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Because NetView no longer works.
NetView works fine. Okay, it could be our machines. No, wait, I'm running Windows 10 that's updated, and it works fine.
Are you running 1809?
I don't know. It could be. When did they do that? Was it just recently?
It was just recently, the last major update to 10.
Okay, yeah, so I probably do not have the latest one then. So no, I was not aware they turned that off. That's going to suck because I actually use that quite frequently. Okay. All right, let's talk about NetBIOS. NetBIOS has been around for a long time. This is a programming interface. Allows computers to communicate over a LAN. And it's just been around forever. We don't really need it all that much anymore, especially now that we have TCP/IP. They talk about computer names on here. Our names are limited to 16 characters. And if I remember right, you can use a space in names. If I remember right. I think I tested that one day. But names must be unique. And this says the last character is the service. And this is something we're going to see an example of. But you will see suffixes applied to names. And what those suffixes are telling what service is available on that specific machine. So if you see 20, it says it's a server service. Maybe. Now, if it's a server service, does that mean it's actually a server? It could still be a client that's sharing files. Okay? So you need to look at the suffix to determine what is available on there. And I'll give you a picture over here in a second. You don't need to memorize them. It says, but note that there are a lot of them out there, and different ones just tell you what the machine offers. Now, talking about null sessions. It's an unauthenticated connection to Windows machine. Someone connected but did not use a login. Okay? All right. It's available, I guess, like I said, through XP and Server 2003. It is gone now. But do you think we would ever find machines again running Windows XP? What do you think? I bet there's some still out there.
Probably some.
I bet there's some. Because a few years back, maybe, I don't know, a few years back, there was a virus that came out that took down a bunch of ATMs. And it turns out the ATMs were running Windows NT. I mean, it's crazy. Because NT has been gone since, what, 95, 96? Somewhere around there. So
It came out with 98, I thought.
It did it. But they were still there just a few years ago, and it's crazy.
They stopped. The next one came out right around 2000.
Around 2000, then, okay. So,
Installing NT reminds me of the book we're reading.
the what now? Oh, the book. Yes, yes, yes.
Installing because you got to find all your drivers and you got to update that. Even the browser won't work. You got to manually move a browser over.
I mean, if you remember, I mean, if anyone worked with the NT Workstation, they didn't even have add remove programs. That was a pain in the butt to work with. Okay, NBT stat, which I'm going to give you an example of here. It's a enumeration tool for Windows, and there's how you use it, and here's what it looks like. I did that one this morning of the machine next door, and this is what it returned. So it basically told me the IP address, and it told me the services available on it. So we got 0, 0, and 20. So the 20 is a server service. So that means there's some share on that specific machine. And I bet I could run it right now. And I could do like NBT stat, spell it correctly, -ABS-129. Actually, let's do my office, 104-01. There you go. That is my computer in my office. And you can see the services that are offering on it. You can see the domain I'm connected to. And what's 1E? Let me go back and see what 1E stands for. What's 1E? 1E, they don't list 1E? Huh, it's not listed. So I don't know what 1E is, to tell you the truth. Okay. I also did one with dash N, and it basically gives you the information of yourself. So with the dash A, you can specify an alternate machine. The dash N does it of yourself. And there you can see all the information about my machine again there. So it could be a browser election, but there wasn't a G after that. So I'm not 100% sure on what the 1E, but it's just all the different codes it returns. And again, I give you a link there where you can actually go and read up on all of them. Okay. And here's another example they provided, and I think I provide one with it as well. Now they talk about NetView. Now, according to Greg, which is probably true, NetView is no longer supported, which is going to be crazy. NetView allowed you to check all kinds of, let's do it on this machine here, actually. Let's do NetView. Okay, so I just did NetView right here. And you, there it goes. Wow. Oh, it's not started on this one? They had to. So we could do NetView ES-104-01. No entries in the list, seriously? Okay, I have an example in here on the slides.
Can do a WinVer and see what version of
yeah, but this one's Windows 7. Not going to be updated anyway. Yeah, this is Windows 7. This one's not going to be updated at all. So, all right. But I also did another example. There it is. I did an example of NetView against a file server here at Rose State. And you'll see it lists all the different shares that are on the machine. Now, it does not list hidden shares, which is a good thing.
Can you do an Nmap of it?
Yes, you can do an Nmap, but Nmap won't show you the shares.
Can you show us that?
I don't have Nmap installed here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this was when, I did this morning. It shows you all the shares that are available on the specific machine. In this case, happens to be our new file server, Brasarius. I don't know where I come up with these darn names from.
From mythology.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay. So it's although you can download and buy them, should you learn how they work, play with them. A lot of them are command line driven, and a lot of people don't know how command line works. So you need to really, if you're going to get into this field, you really need to know how to work the command line. Okay. Dumpsec is another way of dumping enumeration information from Windows. It also gives you permissions on shares and printers and registers. So it gives you lots of information. I don't have an example of that one because I wanted to download it, but I had to sign up and I knew doing it. Hyena is another one which does it. There's just tons of them. They go through like 20 of them in the slides here. We're not going to walk through them all. It wouldn't hurt if you have a chance to play with them because I will tell you on the ethical hacking exam, they did ask specifics about certain tools. They didn't ask about Hyena, but they did definitely about Nessus and and NDT stat, and NetView, and all those were questions I had to answer.
Like 2,000 help.
Nessus has a free version.
Without the fact that they had the book, sent right to the pay site.
Oh well, there used to be a free version. There should.
Yeah, it used to be a free version, and now it's like you got 7 days to try it. That's
Oh wow.
$6
Wow. Well, try it for 7 days then. Yes. Wow. Because it's not like they're really tough questions, but this is okay. You want to do this, so which tool would be good for that? That kind of stuff. So yeah, we do not have Nessus in any of our labs. OpenBSD is another one. Nessus was one of the most popular, but now that it's no longer free, I don't know how long it's going to have to be. I'll have to go look at that. So let me go look. Can't believe it's totally costs money now.
There's a community version you can register for.
Okay, I figure there should be. Comes from Tenable. Okay, so you can get, you can try professional for 7 days, but you can get, where is it? Come on.
They make it hard. You may have to search for Nessus community.
Start your free Nessus trial. That's not it. Upgrading Nessus. I don't know where it is. But I knew you just had to register.
Find Nessus Home.
Yeah, Nessus Home. That's what I found.
Nessus Home.
You can register for an activation code for free.
Yeah, you just need a valid email address. There it is. There it is. Yep, you can do it, and they'll send you an email with an activation code. I knew they had something. They just renamed the darn thing. So
You can turn on your Kali Linux with that.
nice. Okay. So yeah, Nessus, really awesome tools. I definitely recommend you playing with it. Okay. And here's a picture of OpenBSD. We're not going to play with that one. And here's Nessus. So yeah, Nessus. I don't know why they put this picture. It's pretty worthless. But you can do a lot with it.
You're right.
It really doesn't show you anything. Okay, it just shows Nessus being used. Oh boy, who knows what version this is? Okay, all right. There's lots of variants of Linux out there. Kali is the one we see most often, but that's not all of them. Mac OS X, believe it or not, is built on Linux. I think it's on OpenBSD actually, if I remember right.
It says FreeBSD right there.
Is it FreeBSD?
No, Mac is built off the from Debian.
Well, it says it's based on FreeBSD is what it says.
I mean, that's
It could be.
slide.
Who knows? It might have changed as well. But there's lots of different versions out there. I used, I think, OpenBSD is the one I used most years ago. Okay, there's a lot of tools out there for doing enumeration. SNMP is the biggest one, Simple Network Management Protocol. It's not, well, okay, it's not the biggest. It was for a long time. I don't know if it's used that much anymore. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Ubuntu is probably the best. SNMP Walk can actually go through and get everything off of the host that SNMP supplies. I think the only question I had about SNMP was the port, and it happens to run on UDP 161. So I really didn't need to know a lot about that tool. Okay. There's an example of SNMP Walk running on a Linux system there. I don't think there's a Windows version of SNMP Walk. I just didn't feel like running all these on my system. Okay, and there's Nessus as well. Works on there as well. Nmap, we all know what Nmap is. One of the labs used Nmap, didn't it? Or a couple of labs.
Yeah.
Didn't they? Okay.
And Nmap.
Okay. Yeah, Nmap and Nmap are similar. Nmap's the GUI version of Nmap, but they're amazing. You can do all stuff with it, tons of stuff with them. You can script them. You can do everything else with them. Finger, not really used much anymore, but it was very popular years ago, and it was good for finding information, and it worked on TCP 79. You need to know all the ports. Just memorize the darn thing because so many of those things are on the test. Okay. That's the end of this chapter?
Yeah, the short chapter.
Wow, the very short chapter. Okay.
I only have like 38 definitions. Yeah, only
Wow.
38 slides.
Okay, so it's not a lot. So just, play with this stuff. let me give you an example of why you should play with this kind of stuff. In my house, I have some cameras, some Nest cameras, okay? And I had a camera that was intermittent. It'd work, then it would quit. Then it worked, and then it would quit. It was driving me crazy. I couldn't figure out what the heck was wrong with it. But I also had a printer that was intermittent as well. Some days I could print to it, and other days I couldn't print to it. Well, I actually made a project for one of my classes using Nmap. I scanned my home network, and I had students analyze it. And one of my students says, you know you got an IP conflict? It turns out
They were using the same IP.
my camera and my printer were the same IP. So when I printed, initially it didn't work because the camera was using it, but then it would kick the camera off, then I could print. But then it was yes.
You can use
So-
one but not the other.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize that. I never put two and two together, because what I would do is, years ago when I first set up my home network, I hard-coded all my IPs because I would remotely get in and do a lot of stuff. Like a lot of my cameras, they were not cloud-based, so if I wanted to get into the camera, so that I had to hard-code those IPs through reservations. Well, the printer, I never gave it a reservation. I just hard-coded it. And I think I gave it 222. Then I started adding more stuff, starting at 200. So that camera ended up getting 222 via DHCP, but the printer was, it was crazy. But I mean, just play with this stuff. You wouldn't believe what's on your network. And even, Thing, I know y'all must have heard of Thing at one point or another. Thing's an awesome app to see what the heck's on your network. Yeah. I have a new wireless router at home called Eero, E-E-R-O. I mean, that's cool because it even pops on telling you there's a device that hasn't seen on the network before. So,
Hey, Ken, Amazon bought them.
Amazon bought Eero?
I think so.
Oh, wow. So I'll tell you, I'm very impressed. I was able to, from a cruise ship in the middle of the Caribbean, kick my stepdaughter off the network and block her from ever connecting again from the cruise ship. It was hilarious. But, yeah, she was not a happy person. But start playing with this stuff. That's the only way you're going to learn it. Because if you don't play with it, when you go take... See, the problem is they give you questions that are scenario-based a lot of times, and you don't... just start playing with them. And as you know, the test, the final and midterm are just like your quizzes, just a little bit longer. So, but not as open resources. So, all right, well, that's the end of chapter 6. I could have sworn it was longer than that. But. All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording.